Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Jill and today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated book of probably my entire life, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. So let's get started. If you guys are unaware, this is the third and final book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. There will be some novellas, but they will not follow the two main characters that are in this book. Like I said, this was probably my most anticipated book of my entire life. I was so excited for it. I was so hyped for it. I've been waiting for it for over a year. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I did still enjoy the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury, much more. That's still my favorite book of all time. I think this book had a few problems that I will get into in the spoilery section, but overall I really enjoyed it. I thought there are many scenes that I loved from this book, and that's all I'm really going to say for the non-spoilery section. But before you click out, if you have not read this book yet, I actually have something really exciting to tell you guys about. So you might notice that I'm holding the copy that I read in my hand, but I have another copy of this book right over there. And yeah, this extra copy that I have is actually signed by Sarah J. Maas. I actually met Sarah J. Maas when she came to my city a couple weeks ago. She was so freaking cool, and I decided to get an extra book signed for you guys to give away. So yes, I'm going to be giving away this copy of A Court of Wings and Ruin. Admittedly, it is not like signed by Sarah J. Maas, but it is stamped by her, and her husband Josh was there and he touched this book, so if that's any incentive for you, there you go. So if either you haven't heard of the Court of Thorns and Roses series before, but you just want a signed book, you can enter this giveaway. If you already have a copy of A Court of Wings and Ruin, but you just want to have a signed copy of it, you can also enter this giveaway. So I'm just going to go very quickly through the rules for this giveaway, and just please check down below in the description box, because I'm just going to be going through these really fast. First thing is that this is going to be US only. I cannot provide the shipping costs for international people. I am so sorry. Second thing, you have to be 18 years or older or have your parents' permission, because I'm going to be asking for your address. Thirdly, I want you to leave a comment down below telling me your favorite character in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, or if you haven't read them yet, just one of your favorite characters of all time. And also in that comment, if you would please leave either your Twitter handle, Instagram handle, or email, some way for me to contact you. And yeah, this giveaway will be open for exactly 1 week from today, so until this date, and then I will use a random comment generator and pick a winner and contact them through the handle that they left me. It would also be really nice if you guys followed me on either Instagram or Twitter or whichever handle that you leave, because it just makes it way easier for me to find you. Those are essentially all the rules. If I forgot anything, again, just check it down in the description box, and yeah. So that's going to be it for all the non-spoilery section. So if you have not read this book yet, please leave now, because I'm going to go right into spoilers. So goodbye non-spoiler people, please go read this book. It is a fantastic series, my favorite series of all time. Read it, come back, discuss it, and we can have lots of fangirling fun. So yeah, bye. This book, guys, holy crap. I'm gonna paint you guys a little picture right here. So at 9:30 at night on May 1st, the ebook dropped, and I was like, do I really want to pay $15 for an ebook when I already had 2 copies hardcover bought? Did I want to spend the $15 to get the ebook so that I could read it on a school night the day before I have a math test? The answer is, of course, I was going to buy that ebook. So I downloaded that so fast, started the ebook, and I got about 150 pages in, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was sobbing in my bed, and I was like, this has got to stop. And then the next day when I got home from school, I read the rest of it. So let's start from the beginning, shall we? My notes for this review are just hilarious, I swear to God. So we open in the spring court with Feyre kicking some manipulative ass. Oh, I feel like this book is split up into 3 essential parts for me. It's part 1, where Feyre's in the spring court and she's freaking amazing, and that's one of my favorite parts. And then we get to this weird, like, middle portion that I didn't really like so much. And then we get to, like, the final battle ending, which was also really good, but I also had a bunch of problems with. But like I said, Feyre's in the spring court. She is kicking ass. This might have been my favorite part of the book for me, because I loved Feyre in these moments. Like, she was so freaking cool. She was playing all these mind games, okay? So she's manipulating everyone around her. She is twisting everything into her favor, and I just loved her so much in this beginning portion. One thing that I thought was weird is that Tamlin was not really in the first part of this book. At the end of ACOMAF, of course, I was thinking like, oh god, he's gonna be feeling her all up and he's gonna be like trying to get with her and she's going to be like, I am married, okay, back off. But Tamlin, like, there was a little bit of that, but Tamlin was sort of absent, which I was all for because I still hate Tamlin. I expected there to be more Tamlin interaction as opposed to like going around and like hurting Tamlin in a secondary way, if that makes sense. I don't know, I just thought it was weird that Tamlin wasn't like a huge focus in this first part of this book. I love how my tattoo's like already like coming off because I'm already sweaty. Let's talk a little bit about all these people she manipulates. First off, I want to start off with Lucien, who I love with all of my soul. Basically, she is able to manipulate Tamlin into believing that her and Lucien are having some kind of affair, and the scene in Lucien's bedroom was so good. I was yelling so hard because it was so good. Basically what she does is she masks like she puts like this air bubble like around her and Lucien, so Lucien can't sense when Tamlin's about to walk into the room. And Feyre comes into Lucien's room and she's like, oh, help me, I'm dying, look at me, come embrace me. And Lucien's like, oh, okay, sure, you're real pretty, let me do that. And Tamlin walks in and it looks like something's about to happen between them. So Tamlin's pissed at Lucien. Lucien feels bad. And then we got her manipulating Ianthe, who is the worst person. Come at me. I will. Ooh, I hate her. Essentially what Feyre does is she sets up this elaborate plot that would make Tamlin choose between Ianthe, who's this girl that he barely knows, and his sentries who have been protecting him for his entire life. And she sets it up in this way where Tamlin basically has to pick Ianthe, and now all the sentries are pissed off and they want to rebel against Tamlin because they think that he doesn't care about them. And oh, it was so good. This whole time I'm just thinking, Tamlin, you shouldn't have pissed her off. That's what you get. And the best part of all this manipulative crap is that it is not explicitly said that Feyre is doing all this until it happens, and then we get her point of view of how she made all these parts come together. Like, we don't see that, at least I didn't see that when I was reading it. It was just sort of done, and I was like, is Feyre doing that? Is not Feyre doing that? Of course Feyre's doing that because she is a badass, and yes, queen. Oh my gosh, it was so freaking good. Alright, let's move on a little bit to those ancestral twins, shall we? Those two, I don't even remember their names. You know who I'm talking about. Those terrible, terrible people who I really was just so thankful that Lucien and Feyre sent the freaking bog on them. Like, that was amazing. I was like, why didn't that kill them? I wanted them dead, and I hated them also. And then Lucien and Feyre just go ham and kill them, and it was like, they like killed them within like 5 minutes. Like, it was so good. We get to see some Lucien like kicking ass. It was so good. I loved it. And then we get to the scene where Feyre's like, bye guys, I'm leaving, I've had enough, and she's leaving. And then we see frickin' Ianthe sexually abusing Lucien against a tree. And Feyre's like, man, should I help them? Should I not help them? Look, the cage right there. But of course she goes back and she destroys Ianthe. And this moment was so satisfying. I wish she killed Ianthe right there. She should have, but I was perfectly satisfied with her manipulating her into breaking her own hand, making her hit her hand with a rock repeatedly over and over. It was so good. We get Lucien and Feyre about to leave. At this point, Lucien's completely redeemed for me. Like, I love him so much at this point. I didn't hate him in A Court of Mist and Fury. He was just getting on my nerves because he was such a loyal bastard. Whether or not he was doing this because he knew that Tamlin was being an asshole or because he was trying to get to Elaine, I'm not exactly sure, but I am inclined to think that he would have gone with Feyre even if Elaine wasn't in the picture, just because I feel like Lucien's better than how he was in ACOMAF. I mean, we get these streams of consciousness from Lucien that he does feel really bad about what's happening with Feyre, and I really think that even if Elaine wasn't in the picture, Lucien would have still gone with Feyre. Another thing that I loved about this book is that we got to see so many of the other courts. From like this point, we've only ever seen like extensively the spring court and the night court and the summer court, but it was so amazing getting to see all these different courts. So first off, we go into this cave and we get to autumn court, and then we get Lucian's brothers attacking him, and I was so excited when this happened. Of course, like, they're bastards and it was terrible and they were attacking them, but I was so excited because we've heard so much about these goddamn brothers and we've never actually seen them. And we finally get to see his brothers, and it was great. Like, they were assholes, I hate them, but like, it was so cool to see them. And then we get the scene that had me crying. Like, I was in my bed, it was like 1:30 in the morning about, when Az came out of the sky and lands on the ice, and then Cassian comes and lands on the ice, and I'm like, we're back. We are back, we are going back to the night court, everything is amazing, and they kick ass. And there's this quote that Feyre says, and she says, "I loosed a shuddering sob over the burning gag. Cassian's siphons flickered in response, as if the sight of me at Eris's hand. Another impact struck the ice behind us. Shadows skittered in its wake. Azrael. I began crying in earnest. Some leash I'd kept on myself snapping free as my friends landed." That was me. My leash was snapped when Cassian and Az landed on the ice. I lost myself. We go back to the night court, and Sarah J. Maas on purpose had Rhys doing whatever the hell he was doing so that we got to see Amren, and we get to see more, and we get to see all the inner circle except for Rhys, and there's all this tension, and I'm sitting in bed, again, 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like going through this ebook like, where's Rhys, where's Rhys, where's Rhys, where's Rhys? And he finally comes in, and there's this amazing scene where Lucian's like, "So you're the High Lady of the Night Court?" And Rhys is like, "Hell yes, she is." And it was so great. Feyre falls on the ground and starts crying, and Rhys comes and hugs her, and then they have the makeup sex, and it was so beautiful. And then of course we go and we meet Nesta and Elaine, and of course Nesta is the general badass that she is, and Elaine is broken, and that broke me. Like, I felt so bad for Elaine at this point. Now we sort of get into the, what I consider the part 2 of the story, which I did not really like as much. I just felt like it dragged a lot. I sort of had a lot of problems getting into the story. There were some scenes that I really enjoyed, and I will go through those now, but overall it was a lot of like planning and scheming and figuring things out and getting allies and all this stuff, and it just like wasn't my favorite thing. One of my favorite scenes from this middle portion was the inner circle dinner where Lucian comes in. He's like, "What's the dress code? I'm so confused," because everyone's like wearing all these different things, and like seeing just Rhys and Feyre back like together, and seeing Lucian like see how much Rhys and Feyre care for one another, and just that whole dinner was so amazing, and I feel like I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I also really like the scene where Feyre and Rhys talk about like Feyre undermining him, and Feyre didn't really want to speak out against Rhys in public because she didn't want to undermine him, and Rhys is like, "Oh my god, like please check me, please undermine me, please, I want to know your opinion, we can check each other." And I just thought that was a really good Rhys and Feyre moment. I also thought it was really interesting throughout this whole book there is an ongoing theme of Rhys sacrificing himself, and all the inner circle members really hating this and really being bitter about Rhys being willing to completely and totally sacrifice himself for them, and it's like this ongoing like conflict between them. I thought that was a really interesting aspect because I feel like that's a common theme in Sarah J. Maas's books, is that lots of the main characters would completely and totally sacrifice themselves without thinking what they would leave behind if they did that sacrifice. So I thought that was really interesting for her to address that the characters are really upset about Rhys doing this consistently. I also was so, like, I saw this coming so much, but Elaine being a seer, she started like talking in all these like riddles, and I'm like, you do realize she's telling the future, she's not crazy. One thing that she says particularly stuck out to me, and that was something that she said in regards to Cassian, because she like just gave a bunch of these other prophecies that came true, and then she says this about Cassian. I think so. Elaine says he snapped your wings, broke your bones. Feyre, I tried to shut out the sound of Cassian's scream, the memory of the spraying bud. Nesta stared at her plate. Elaine, at least, was out of her room, but it'll take more than that to kill me, Cassian said with a smirk that didn't meet his eyes. Elaine only said to Cassian, "No, it will not." So at this moment I'm like, so Cassian's dead. right? Because the entire time through this book, I'm thinking, who's going to die? That's probably the main thing that we were all thinking, is who the hell is going to die? So at that point, I thought Cassian was gone. But he didn't die, which was weird. Maybe that's a foreshadow for another book, but I just thought that it was weird to like put that in there, and like every single one of the other things that Elaine says would came true, but except for Cassian dying. And the other scene that was so good was the all court scene, where all the courts came together and we got to meet all of the High Lords. I loved this scene with all my heart. It was probably one of my top 3 scenes of the entire book. It was so good, it was so sassy, and like before the Night Court goes into the room, they're like making bets on how long it's gonna last until a fight breaks out. We meet the High Lord of the Winter Court, Kalios, and his wife Vivian. Love them so much. We meet the High Lord of the Dawn Court, Thiessen, which we didn't really actually get a lot of him, but he was really cool. Tarquin, I still love Tarquin. I feel so bad that we betrayed him. We get Baron and Eris, which is weird that we agreed that we were going to back Eris's claim. I think that Eris overall is going to end up being a good guy. He seems like an ass like most of the book, but I feel like he's better than his father, and I don't know, I have a feeling that Eris isn't as bad as he makes himself out to be, but I guess we'll see. Also got to meet Hellion, which from the very first time he walked in, I loved him. And then of course Tamlin waltzes in, and I wanted to spear him through the chest, but you know, what else is new? He comes in and he's like, you know, saying terrible things about Rhys and Feyre, and I'm like, boy, you better sit down or I'm gonna kick you. Sit down right now. But that he just goes and he spills everything to Hybern, and I'm just like, I'm going to kill you in your sleep. Back to Helion, we figure out that he's bi because he walks in and he's like, hey Cassian, hey Mor, let's go do it in the bedroom. I love that. That was a great addition for diversity, that one of the High Lords is bisexual, and I just loved Helion. He's like a lighter version of Rhys, I think it describes him as. I loved him a lot. And then we find out that Hybern destroyed the wall. Oh shit, what are we gonna do? But nothing really happened with that, which was strange. Then we meet Grayson, which was Elaine's betrothed, which was strange. I still think that that was weird how Elaine liked him, and I just thought that whole thing was strange, and he was terrible, and I don't like him. Then we find out that Jurian is actually not evil, he's actually good. I suspected this all along. I was always so confused why he was evil, considering like we learned about his past in the previous war, and he just didn't seem like the one that would want to kill the humans, right? I was really glad to know that he was actually just using his position with Hybern to spy. It was great. Jurian, A+ for that. And then we get a couple of like really high stakes battles. Like we have the one, like I think there were 2 like battles where he like attacked the Summer Court, or like twice when he attacked the Summer Court. These were very high stakes, like they were made out to be like really high stakes, but like nothing happened. Azriel got real hurt, but like nothing detrimental happened. No one really died. Nothing really happened, so like I don't even remember how many like high stakes battles there were. This was one of my critiques of the book, is that there were all these high stakes, like oh my god, so many people are gonna die, we're gonna die, the world's going to end, and like it was fine, and like nothing really happened. That was kind of annoying. Oh yeah, Feyre asks to learn how to fly. That was cool. We also get to see Az way more. That was really fun. Elaine gets taken, and then Az volunteers to go and rescue her, so we get like this tension between Azriel and Elaine. Elaine won't talk to Lucien, but Elaine seems to be taking a liking to Az, and we also find out that Mor is gay, which I also thought was an amazing addition to this whole thing. First off, I thought, okay, well that means Az is going to die, because now he doesn't have like a hardcore ship that he's with, so now Az is going to die. But then on the same token, I'm like, are Elaine and Az gonna be a thing? I don't know my feelings about this right now, because I love Lucien, and I really think that Elaine and Lucien would be really good together. Oh, and I completely forgot that Lucien is the son of Helion, which means he's the heir to the Day Court. And can't you just see Lucien and Elaine being High Lady and Lord of the Day Court? Like, that just seems like such an amazing, like, I could see that so hard. And I love Az, and now he's gonna be so sad because Maury's gay and doesn't want him, and the girl that he's been pining after for 500 years isn't even attracted to him. Like, I want Az to be happy, but I also want Lucien to be happy. I feel like Elaine and Lucien are gonna end up together, but I just... Oh, and then we get this amazing scene with Feyre and the cereal. I've always loved Feyre, but I love the guy characters in the Equanimous and Fury much more, but this book really, really sparked my love for Feyre as a character. I loved her in this book. And the scene with the cereal was fantastic. Like, we get Ianthe being... We're not going to talk about her. But we get this amazing, touching scene with Feyre and the cereal, and it just warmed my little heart, and it made me love Feyre so much more. Back to Ianthe, it was so satisfying to see Feyre go into that weaver's cottage and have Ianthe follow her and have, so good. Loved that whole thing. And now we get to the final battle, which was an amazing final battle, but this is mostly where most of my problems with this book lied. This amazing touching scene where Rhys basically says farewell to every single person in the inner circle. He like gives a nice paragraph speech about how much he loves everyone, and I'm sitting here expecting half of these people to die, right? I'm thinking Cassian's gonna go, Az is gonna go, like for sure, especially Az is going to go because he's still injured. Anyone could die at this point, and I'm thinking a good half of this inner circle is going to die. So this like speech that Rhys is giving is getting to me in the feeling. I am just terrified in this moment that they're all going to die because that's what they've made it out to be. They are really outnumbered, they are outskilled, they are out everything, and so I'm terrified that all these people are going to die, or at least a good number of them are going to die. Now I will admit this battle was epic. We have amazing moving parts in this battle. It was slightly unrealistic that all these different people happen to show up the minute courts start losing, right? I thought that was a little weird, but it was really cool. We have the Weaver, the Carver, and the creature that was in the bottom of the library. Like, I thought that was so cool how Rhys and Feyre, like, they were like, we are totally outnumbered. Let's get some creepy ass creatures to help us out. Also back to the Carver. I thought it was an A+ job what happened with the Ouroboros. I don't know how to say that mirror. Thought that that was an amazing thing that the Carver did, where he's like, you know, I don't really want it. I just wanted to see if you were worthy enough for me to fight for, and you are, so I'm gonna fight for you. That was so good. Back to the battle. So the courts start off, and we're doing pretty darn good. Like, we have all these creatures with us, but then, like, of course, Hybern starts using the cauldron, and people start disintegrating, and then Dracon's army comes from wherever the hell they were, and then we have the mortal army that comes with Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine's father at the helm of the fleet, and I'm just thinking like, what? And then we have the queen and Lucien come flying in, that lost queen, and finally we start kicking some ass, but we're still not kicking enough ass, and we're starting to lose despite all this help that we're getting, because again, the cauldron sucks. Basically, Amren and Feyre go to the cauldron. Amren says, haha, I'm betraying you, haha, and then we get Feyre looking through the cauldron with this heartbreaking scene with Nesta and Cassian and the King of Hybern, and Cassian's just getting the hell beat out of him, and Nesta is like, I'm going to die with you, and Cassie's like, my only regret is that I wasn't able to spend more time with you, and Nesta like puts herself on top of them so that they would die together, and then Elaine comes out of the forest, stabs Hybern in the neck, and everything's fine. We go back to Amren and Feyre. Basically, Amren wasn't betraying them. Amren was just trying to get herself released. Amren is released out of herself, and that's the end of the battle. Basically, like, goodbye Hybern's army, because also Hybern's dead. And then we get to this part where I'm just like, I'm so confused. Basically, the cauldron is leaking, and Feyre's like, I need to put my magic into this, and Rhys is like, use my magic, even though I'm like, just fought like 5 battles and I'm about ready to pass out. It's fine, okay? We look over, Rhys is dead. I never believed he was dead. Like, I was freaking out a little bit, but I'd be no way that Sarah J. Maas would kill off Rhys. We get this parallel between what happened at the end of A Court of Thorns and Roses with Feyre, and then we have all the High Lords putting their magic into Rhys and resurrecting him. I will say, the place that I cried the absolute hardest was when Tamlin came up and said, "Be happy, Feyre," and gave his life force, or the ball of light, into Rhys. I lost it there. I will admit, I was very emotionally invested in that moment, and I still don't think that Tamlin's redeemed. I still hate him, but he's a little bit better for me. If he could just like go live by himself, like that would be fine. Like, I don't hate him outwardly anymore, but I just don't want to associate with him anymore. And then Rhys is resurrected and he's like, "Don't worry, I don't have any of your powers, it's fine." And I was like, oh, why? I'm confused why that was able to work. Does that mean that like the High Lords can resurrect anyone that has a mate? Because the whole thing was that Rhys and Feyre were able to hold on to the other one when they were dead through the mating bond. So does that mean that the High Lords could resurrect anyone that has a mate? That's what I'm wondering. And if you're a High Lord already, does that mean that you don't get powers? I'm confused. And then we get even more confusing where Rhys is like, "Oh yeah, Amren's still in that pot over there. Fish her out of the cauldron." And then Amren's fine, like she's now High Fae, even though she like released whatever was inside of her. Now she's High Fae, and I just thought that was strange. So overall, like my problem with this last battle is that I was fully expecting for someone to die, or to stay dead, I should say, and I just feel like the book missed out on the emotional punch of this story by not having anyone die. And I'm not being that person who wanted everyone to die, okay? I would have cried if one of the Inner Circle members died, but it would have been more memorable for me. It would have been more emotionally punching. It would have been better. But Amren who said like, "As soon as I release myself, I'm going to be dead." Even she is fine. Even Az, who was completely and totally injured and could barely fly, was fine after going into battle. Cassian, who got completely destroyed in his battle with Hybern, is fine. Everyone is okay, and it annoys me. Stakes were so high. It was the final book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and nothing memorable or lasting happened other than Hybern dying and I guess the father dying, but that doesn't really count because he was just in the story. They should have killed someone off. I don't want to be the person to say it. I don't want anyone to die. I feel like it would have been better, and I would have been more invested in the story as a whole if someone had died. Does that make sense? I hope I don't sound crazy. Another thing that I thought was a little annoying was that there were significantly less quotes in this book. Like, A Court of Mist and Fury was filled of amazing quotes that I could be put on my walls, but there were only like a couple from A Court of Wings and Ruin. I just thought that that was really lacking in that department too. So the next obvious question that I'm going to attempt to answer is, who are the novellas going to follow? And I have some definite theories as to where this is going to go. I feel like one of them has to follow Lucien. I'm going to be really upset if one of them does not follow Lucien, because like I said, he's now one of my favorite characters of the series. I love him, and I feel like him and Elaine got the least amount of closure at the end of this book. And I feel like she's going to do a short novella following either the Weaver, the Suriel, the Carver, something like that. I feel like that would also be a really cool story to read about, is to see like their pasts and stuff. Also, I think a really cool novella that she might do is following Drakon and his wife, because we hear so much about them, but we don't really know what's going on with them. So I feel like she left that really open. So I think that's going to be it for my review of A Court of Wings and Ruin. I know at the end here I sort of talked about things that annoy me and that I didn't really like very much, but I overall did really enjoy this story. It had a bunch of Rhys and Feyre in it, and I think that it was a good conclusion to one of my favorite series of all times, and I went into such withdrawal after finishing this book because my Rhys and Feyre story got wrapped up like in a pretty little bow, and it broke my heart that I won't be able to see them anymore. I'm sure they're going to be in the novellas like mentioned, but we won't follow them anymore, and it just broke my heart. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and if you like me doing these reviews. I really don't do reviews very often, but if you like me doing reviews, comment down below, give it a like, do all the things, and also don't forget to enter the giveaway for the stamped copy of A Court of Wings and Ruin if you are interested in that. Again, check the description box. I have my Goodreads, Twitter, Bookstagram, and personal Instagram all linked down below if you guys want to follow me on those platforms. Subscribe if you are new here, and yeah, I will see you guys later in another video. Bye!